Sports. Welcome to my life. I actually want us to have a review of yesterday's Champions League games. The games between Atalanta versus Borussia Dortmund that ended in a 4-1 defeat to Borussia Dortmund, alongside the Madrid and Benfica that ended in favor of Real Madrid 2-1 with a full-time aggregate of 3-1, and also the game between Juventus versus Galatasaray that ended 90 minutes in favor of Juventus, but in after extra time it ended in favor of Galatasaray, qualifying to the next round of 16 of the competition. So I want us to take a look at this. Let's start with the Juventus Galatasaray match. I was actually not happy with Galatasaray yesterday. Although I'm a good fan of Galatasaray because of Victor Sime, that is there. As a Nigerian, I support Victor Sime anywhere he goes. But I'm not happy with how the game went yesterday. In the first leg, Galatasaray defeated Juventus 5-2. Then in the second leg, I was expecting them to even do better or hold on to that particular result. Because if we look at Juventus' last 5 matches, these guys have not won even a single game. They have not won a single game in the last 5 games until they came across Gala as at yesterday. Juventus are not in good form. If we are to check out the percentage of their form, it's just 7%. But Galatasaray, on the other hand, were in full form. So when they were coming into that game, I knew it was going to be a do or die affair. But still, I wasn't expecting them to lose the manner they did yesterday. It's so shameful, for crying out loud. Juventus collected a red card as at 48 minutes of the game. A red card at 48 minutes. Though they were leading by 1-0 before they collected our red card. But after that red card, I expect the game to change in favor of Galatasaray. But what happened next? With the likes of Victor Sime, Godogan, Sen, and the rest of them all in that particular place, these guys still could not perform against Juventus. Juventus collected red card at 48 minutes. Still then, they went on to score 2 more goals against Galatasaray. It was totally uncalled for. What was Osimhen doing on that pitch? I want to get this clear. What was he doing on the pitch? What was Godogan doing on that pitch? What was Sen doing on that pitch? That a team with red card scored you 2 goals after the red card. It's so shameful. It's just so disgraceful because I wasn't expecting that yesterday. They were just so lucky they later skate through with a good against from Osimhen and the rest. If not for those 2 goals, Galatasaray would have lost after winning 5-2 in the first leg. They would have been knocked out. But they were just so lucky that the game later changed in the extra time. This is a game they ought to have closed in 90 minutes. Without argument, 90 minutes, that game ought to have been closed down. But here they were messing up with their chances and the rest. To the extent that a 10-man players team defeated you guys. Anyway, they were just lucky. Let's talk about Real Madrid versus Benfica. That was the heart of the game yesterday. It was a very, very tough one. Benfica came in. They came in with the mindset of winning Real Madrid the same way they did at that group stage. The group stage, they defeated Real Madrid 4-2. So they were coming back again to Bernabeu with that mindset that they are still going to do it again. But unfortunately, Real Madrid showed them a different color. Real Madrid showed them why they are the champions of Europe. The game was tough yesterday. After Benfica scored the first goal, I was actually thinking that, oh my God, Benfica are going to defeat Real Madrid again. Second time in a row at Bernabeu. But I never knew that Real Madrid had it planned. Abeloa was on his best tactics as at yesterday. Not long ago, Real Madrid equalized the first goal. I wasn't even expecting that quick equalizer. But because they know that this is their home, they have to do better. They are the champions of Europe. All European countries are looking up to them. The world were watching them. They knew. So they have to step up their game. And before you know it, back, they don't score another goal. To make it 1-1. I'm bringing the aggregate to 2-1 because the first leg at Benfica's home, Real Madrid won with 1-0, which was a game that Vinicius scored the winning goal that caused an issue. You know? So just thank God for them. They were just unlucky. They, they were just so lucky in that game, even though they wouldn't have gone scot-free. But as luck, we have it on their side. They later scored another, which was cancelled. They scored another goal that was later cancelled. Then they later scored another again that made it 3-1. You know, making sure that they defeated Benfica home and away in this playoff. So Real Madrid, they were in good form. They actually played perfectly well. Then let's take a look at the Atalanta against Borussia Dortmund match. That was the first game of yesterday's games, and it was in favor of Atalanta, knocking out Borussia Dortmund from the Champions League. That game actually ended with a 4-1 with Borussia Dortmund having a red card. I want to ask, without this red card, do you think that Atalanta would have scaled through to the round of 16? If we are to look very well, if we are to be a good judge, do you think Atalanta would have scaled through to the round of 16 of the Champions League if not for the red card that Borussia Dortmund received? The game ended 4-1. In my own opinion, I believe that the only way it ended in that way was because Dortmund were down with one man. Although the first half was 2-0, yeah, but I still believe that Dortmund would have done something crazy in the second half. But unfortunately, they went down with one man, and that made them to go down the more. The morale went down. You know, when you're playing a game and you are losing already, and you are trying to do a comeback, then boom, they give one of your teammates a red card. You know, it will just destabilize every player on that pitch, including the coaching crew. It just destabilize them, and that was what happened against Dortmund yesterday. Dortmund would have done or pulled out a second half comeback, but unfortunately, without red card, they just couldn't move, and that was how they later got defeated 4-1. You just hope that Atalanta perform better in the round of 16. I don't know whom their next opponent is going to be yet, but I'm still having a doubt. I'm having doubt that they are going to do well. I'm not really seeing them performing well at this season's Champions League. Yes, they defeated Dortmund with a red card. You know, so that's just it. Let's worry about the Paris Saint-Germain and Monaco game. You know, this is more like a League One fight because the both teams are from the same league. But it was just unfortunate yesterday that Monaco couldn't skate through because Monaco were actually leading at first with 1-0, and when they received that red card, shit, you know, red card always have one thing in games. Once any opponent receive a red card, it is believed that it is not a one-sided game, which was what happened yesterday between PSG and Monaco. You know, Monaco collected a red card. Immediately, the PSG equalized the one goal they were leading with to 1-1. Few minutes later, PSG scored another to make it 2-1. You understand? Which now brought the aggregate, as at that time, brought it to 4-3 aggregate. Until the game went on. Then Monaco later equalized to 2-2. Just imagine that if Monaco were not on red card, imagine what would have happened. Monaco probably would have qualified or owed PSG to what's it called, an extra time game. But unfortunately, because of that red card they were having, they just couldn't do more than that. To say that red card, any team that have red card in a football game or more, anything can happen. Anything can happen to that team. But Monaco, kudos to Monaco. They actually tried a lot. With a red card, they were still able to play better and even drawing against the current Champions League champion. It's not that easy. They actually tried. And that was why I said it is a League One fight, because these two these two teams know each other for a very long time. They have known their various tactics and how they play. That was why Monaco could play harder, because it's going to be a bad thing that my own country team or squad knocked me out. It's going to be quite disgraceful. And that was why they decided to pull further to ensure that Paris Saint-Germain do not defeat them in the 90-minute game. Yes, in aggregate, they won. But in the 90-minute game, with a red card, they still played a 2-2 draw. Kudos to them. They actually impressed me. I believe they also impressed every other football fans out there that watched that game yesterday. I never believed that Monaco could pull such a stunt. Unlike Galatasaray, who were full and against a red card Juventus still couldn't perform better, still couldn't even score a goal in the 90 minutes. Kudos to Monaco. I'm actually very, very impressed with Monaco. Those guys are actually they are actually working despite the fact that they don't have good squad like that of Paris Saint-Germain. Still then they were able to hold on to a 2-2 draw in the 90 minutes. I just hope that Paris Saint-Germain go further to work, because if they do not work harder, there's possibility they might be knocked out in the round of 16, or probably at the quarterfinal. Because if 10-man Monaco could hold you to 2-2 draw, then what happens at the round of 16, where you are going to meet a more tougher opponent, a more stronger opponent that will be complete in squad. So there's possibility that they might be knocked out at the round of 16 or at the quarterfinal, the semi-final, depends. But I don't really see Paris Saint-Germain moving on to the final of this season UEFA Champions League competition. I don't really see them moving to the final, because I don't really see that squad I saw last season. What they have this season is not what they have last season. So there's possibility they will not make it up to the round of to the semi-final or final.